What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast, Happy Hour Hoops. And we have yet another trade in the NBA, which we're going to start out with. Honestly, just a huge show today for news. Last week, we were given the Pascal Siakam trade. This week, we are given the Terry Rozier off the Hornets to the Miami Heat. This is. Can we just expect this, guys, until the trade deadline? Because I would like that, a big monumental trade every week, middle of the week before we record. I'm down to do that.
Yeah, I'm liking how we're getting some of these bigger names splashing these past couple weeks, and Terry Rozier to the Miami Heat. It felt like it just kind of was a deal that happened. Didn't really realize it, but this could be a deal that's really beneficial for Miami. Like this is a type of score that's going to really help this team. And I mean, it's classic Miami Heat, right? They get the best out of everyone when they go there. Terry Rozier's already having kind of a career type year right now in Charlotte, but no one cares because Charlotte's been so bad. But damn, it's a nice fit. I'm excited to see it tonight. Scary Terry. He's projected to play tonight for the Heat, so this will be a fun one to see how it works out with him, Hero, Jimmy, and Bam, who's also pretty much having a career year.
I can't believe they had to give up like just Kyle Lowry and a later first round pick. Like they don't care about these first round picks. They're trying to win now. The contracts obviously probably matched perfectly. It doesn't make sense. And Terry feels like a perfect Miami Heat player too. Like just his work ethic and everything else. I'm so excited.
See his old tweets about D Wade?
No, I didn't.
No. People are pulling like old tweets where I think D Wade injured his shoulder or arm or something, and he was like, "Take my arm," and like I forget the year, but back when he wasn't in the NBA, and so it seems like Rozier's been a fan of Heat culture for a long time now, and yeah, I agree. You could say it's a scary fit. People call him Scary Terry, but I think like 2 weeks ago, I saw a stat comparison. It was like one of those player A, player B things. And it was Terry Rozier alongside Dame Lillard. And Rozier had the edge and a lot of the offensive stats. And so, Lillard was the guy that the Heat wanted this whole summer. But turns out they only had to wait half the season and they get Terry Rozier for a much cheaper price. I mean, Lowry in a first-round pick is not much compensation to bring in a much younger, much more explosive, just a better scoring guard at this point in their careers. So yeah, I look at this as a steal for Miami, and then kind of what the Hornets always do, a big question mark for them because the report was already that he's likely to be bought out. So then you traded Rozier, of course you dumped the money, but you traded Rozier for a 2027 first round pick. It seems like you
could have got more.
Right.
You could have got way more. And it's crazy too, because like I said, it's like he's having a fantastic year, but since it's on the Hornets, no one really cares, right? He's averaging a career high in points per game this year at 23 a game. And no one really cares about that. Like when you saw the deal originally, I think most people are like, oh yeah, Terry Rozier, solid player going to the Heat, like he got better, but I don't think people realize how good Rozier's been this year. I think he's averaging like 6.5 assists, 4 rebounds a game too. His shooting splits have been, I think he's shooting his best percentage from the field this season too in his career, which is crazy. Like Rozier's having a career year. He's 29 years old, so he's pretty much in his prime, like at his peak. And it's just another guy too, like I said, that just kind of has always been productive, kind of always does what you want, a player to do in certain situations. Like he can make the big shots. Like he doesn't shy away from the moment, and he goes to a perfect spot where, like I said, the Miami Heat get the best out of their players. So now you're taking a guy who has having a career year on a team that's pretty much been in turmoil the entire season, been dealing with injuries, suspensions, whatever you have for Charlotte. They've been dealing with it all for the season. It hasn't stopped Terry since he's been there for, I think, like 4 or 5 years now. He's just been getting better every single year, getting a bigger role. And now he goes to a team like Miami where he doesn't need to be the guy, but I hate bringing this up, Donnie, because when you're on the pod, but look at the guys the Miami Heat got the best out of last year, right?
Yeah.
Guys like Strus, Martin, Vincent, he's more talented than all three of those.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you pair that with Jaime Jaquez, who's having one of the best rookie seasons. You already have your, quote unquote, big three in Miami, like Hero, Butler, and Bam. I just think this is a great fit. And I honestly think, too, this takes a ton of pressure off those vets. It takes a ton of pressure. It's scary. Terry could score 30, any game he really wants to on the Miami Heat, the way they set it up. But, like, there's going to be probably games where he scores like 30 points. There's going to be games with Scary scores 8. But I think that's going to benefit the Miami Heat because they're just going to be more balanced, have another weapon that, they can just utilize in a number of ways. This is a guy, too, who could play the six-man role, come off the bench if they want to play more gritty defensive game against who they're matched up against. If they got to run the court with some of these teams that want to run, because there's a lot of teams in the NBA that want to run. Now the Miami Heat looked like, okay, maybe a better matchup against the Indiana Pacers, right? Maybe they're a better matchup against the Boston Celtics now. So I love this move for the Miami Heat, and I love it for Terry personally, just because this is a guy who needs to get a little more recognition, right? He's been a baller, and I know, Donnie, you know him from his Celtics days, and
he was great then.
He was great there. Didn't have the biggest role in the world, but he was great what the Celtics needed him to do, and then became kind of a guy in Charlotte. But like I said, Charlotte's been so bad, no one really is noticing how effective of a player he's been this year. So it's just kind of a perfect spot, and it's the classic, right? Miami Heat, like it's not going to fail with the Miami Heat. They'll get the best out of him. He's having they trade for a guy who's having a career year, who's only been getting better like the past 5 seasons, to a team in turmoil, and all they give up is Kyle Lowry in the first 3 years down the road.
Yeah. An expiring Kyle Lowry who has been getting worse, like evidently the last 2 years. Yeah, it's
crazy. Only the Miami Heat pulled this off.
I don't know how they were able to do that, but they did. And Terry Rozier is wasting no time. They tweeted out an hour ago that he's cleared to make his debut tonight.
Yep.
And then he plays his other former team, my Boston Celtics, tomorrow night. So that should be must watch for Thursday night hoops. The only other thing I want to say about Charlotte is they came out today and said that now they're also trying to sell Gordon Hayward before the deadline. And it's just,
they see the tank war setting up right now. They see that tank war setting up. We got the big tank matchup tonight. Hornets, Pistons, as we were talking about before the pod. They're ready. They're ready. They're like, listen, we got to be serious about this. We got to get down there.
They're throwing their name in the arena. Yeah.
Is there a true tank war though? Because I feel like the projected top 5 picks are interchangeable. It feels like this year in the draft class, it feels like they're changing every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
One at the top. Like I know it's a decent core, and a lot of people won't know because a lot of them are international players, but it just feels like there isn't a set, top 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah, there's not a Wemby this year.
In a tank war for. No, not even close.
No Wemby this year.
But I'm saying,
it's all they got, though.
Even if there wasn't.
What else do they have? They have the allure of a number 1 pick for their fans.
Right. And I think it's, you got to look towards the future anyways, right? But I'm saying, I don't think you need to get in a quote-unquote be the worst team type of tank war, because I honestly, at this point in time, I think 1 through 6, maybe even 1 through 8 picks right now feel like interchangeable to me. And I think more is going to change, right? Once we get into the meat of the college basketball season, some players emerge that way too. Mm-hmm. But right now, okay, build towards the future. But I don't know what your plan is.
Yeah, and I don't think the Hornets know either. So that could just be the real information that Charlotte's trying to give us is they're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks at this point.
Because what are you building around too, right? I don't think there's any guarantee LaMelo wants to stay there long term.
No.
Right? God, no. What are you really building around? PJ Washington's probably going to be dealt too.
Yeah.
Come deadline.
They just drafted Brandon Miller. I'm not even sure he wants to be there at this point.
No, and he's been playing well too. Another one who's actually been playing really well, but no one cares because it's Charlotte. Yeah. I looked up. I'm like, damn, Miller's got decent numbers this year. Well, Miller's been pretty good when I watch him.
And I guess it's a little sad for Kyle Lowry. But it kind of reminds me of when Tony Parker went to the Hornets a few years ago and then just disappeared from the league. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the same fate for Lowry. Hopefully not. There's still teams out there, contenders that would like to bring him in. Needed to be moved though. Smart move for the Heat, especially when you think about what they got in return. We will get to the probably biggest news of the weeks, the Bucks firing Adrian Griffin. But how could we start the pod without talking about our presenting sponsor, Win Streaks? Guys, Happy Hour Hoops is brought to you by Win Streaks. It's the best. It's 100% free to play. You make 5 picks daily on the sports games that we know you are already watching, and then you accumulate points and you can win cash prizes. This contest runs every Monday to Sunday, and you just try to be the best out of everyone watching these games. You make your picks, you accumulate points, and you win cash prizes. It's that easy. NFL, NHL, college basketball, NBA, which obviously we love, and use our code HHH when you sign up in that referral code spot, and you'll have chance to win game time gift cards like we did the past couple of weeks. We gave away some $50 gift cards. Little hint here, down the road, we're going to be doing similar contests. So when you download the WinStreaks app, use our referral code HHH. And just one last reminder, this is 100% free to play always. And yeah, go start watching those games, accumulate points, and maybe you will be this week's lucky winner.
Great slate tonight too. A lot of options, a lot of chances to have that 5-0 day. Get a little bonus, get a little boost right there. A lot of chances. I'll tell you what. I was telling you guys this before the pod. I'm starting to get right back into that college basketball. We got a great slate today. Some great NBA games. I'll be the first one to say I got 4 college basketball picks on my win streak slate today.
Ooh.
Only 1 NBA pick, and I'm sure everyone can guess which NBA team I'm taking tonight. Little ABC game, little home dogs. I think everyone knows that I'm taking the Mavs with I think about 59 points. Oh yeah, but I got some college basketball too. Big slate, and I'll tell you what. There's a lot of teams that I think are getting you're getting more points for. That should be the ones that are going to be winning the game. A lot of opportunities there. A big night.
I have one of those tonight too. It's the Atlanta Hawks.
Ooh, okay.
I think 76 points for the Atlanta Hawks tonight.
Damn, 76
against the Warriors.
That's a big one right there.
I'm probably gonna look and see that Trae Young's not playing.
Yeah, DeJounte Murray can ball out, right?
Yeah. No, I like that.
He's trying to get traded right now too. That's a man trying to build his trade value.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys know the deal. Download Win Streaks. We're gonna be doing giveaways with them again soon, and pick winners on these games that we know you're watching. Win Streaks is the best, and Happy Hour Hoops is brought to you by Win Streaks every week. Well, all that said, let's get into the juicy stuff, the craziness that is the Milwaukee Bucks. Second seed in the East, doesn't matter. They fire their head coach. Adrian Griffin is out, and Doc Rivers from the broadcast booth is just hopping in, taking over. There's a bunch of speculation that he has kind of been running the show from behind the scenes, prior to all this news coming out, which is crazy if that's the case. Apparently Doc Rivers was acting as Littlefinger, just kind of puppeting everyone on the Milwaukee Bucks, and then now finally just getting his way and lands the head coaching job. I mean, my initial reaction was just second seed in the Eastern Conference. Why are you firing your coach? And then, Doc Rivers obviously was going to be a top candidate. He's a guy who's a well-respected, well-known. He's coached a lot of legendary players and, was kind of rumored to maybe get this job before Adrian Griffin did. But to me, I just can't help but think we have a Ime Udoka situation going on. I'm not saying specifically the same type of thing, but I wouldn't be surprised if more comes out, because otherwise I don't really have an answer of why the hell this would happen.
I have one example to give you guys.
Let's hear it.
It's from one of the greatest, I would say the greatest basketball player of all time, who fired a coach when they were winning.
The Cavs, right?
The first year. Yep. David Blatt got fired halfway through his first year for a coach that LeBron wanted. And Giannis clearly is it has a lot of sway right now. He got Dame traded there, pushed for that. We all know that was basically Giannis wanting that to happen. And there's a lot of reports about. Here's some quotes from Giannis here from this season. We have to be more clear on what we're trying to accomplish defensively. And because you've got to live with something, we got to figure out solutions. Right now, we're not there yet. That was in December. Obviously, the talent level we have is incredible. We have to be more organized. I feel like sometimes we're not organized at all. I've been a part of a few teams that have been number one in defense. At the end of the day, it's about pride and effort. If you have no pride, no effort, you don't get the results. And we are playing extremely hard, and at times we don't. That all sounds like shots at your head coach in pressers right away. I think Giannis put his foot down and said, this guy's not getting it done. Now, the Doc side of it is the little finger Doc side of it is the most interesting part of the story because he was brought on as an advisor to Adrian Griffin to get things in. Doc also, you mentioned his great pedigree and why he would be the first guy to be brought up in this, like to come in and coach a championship caliber team. Also went to Marquette University in Milwaukee, also a Chicago native. He's going back home. Yeah. He's going close to home. Like, this is probably the situation Doc has wanted since he left Philly last year. Like, we know that he was a candidate for this Bucks job to begin with. We know that Nick Nurse was also a candidate for this Bucks job last summer, and they settled on Adrian Griffin. And it hasn't worked since the beginning. I mean, even the Terry Stotts firing, that was like one day before the season started, or one day before the end of the preseason, when they brought in Stotts to kind of help him along and help Dame along. It's like, what's going on there? Like, that's not usually a good start. I think this is a star player in flexing his star player muscles once again and getting the guy that he wants in there. Is it the right move? We all have talked at length about Doc Rivers on this podcast and how we don't think that he can win in these big moments. So but when Doc first shows up, there is a bump. It's usually year 2, year 3 where the things start to deteriorate with Doc and you start losing his voice and everything like that. But they don't need year 3. Right. Like, they need to win now. Then they would be doing next year. Like, the window for the Bucks is right now while Dame is in his prime. So I want to criticize it, but like, if they hated the guy this much, you can't just string it out. But also, it's fucking crazy that you gave him the leeway to be in charge of this organization, and then you're 30-13. And you're like, yeah. But the only comparison I have is David Blatt and LeBron. Yeah, and that was crazy when that happened too.
That is a good point. Because that's really the only thing that I'm getting hung up on is the second seed in the East. And I don't think, like, it's not like they, going into the season, we said Bucks and Celtics we thought would be in a class of their own in the Eastern Conference. So it's not like the Bucks in their heads are thinking that they should be miles above the Celtics. Like, I feel like any team in the East, especially the Bucks, with, the defensive woes that they've had and bringing in Dame and trying to make all that work, you'd think they'd be super pleased with the second seed in the Eastern Conference, especially with a rookie head coach. You brought up Nick Nurse, Jake. I read the other day that, management wanted to bring in Nick Nurse in the offseason. Giannis shut it down. That little piece of information, Doc kind of already having his hands on the team in the background, in the shadows, that little piece of information, it kind of all does point to Giannis just running the show here, and maybe Dame being his little partner in crime in that. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I mean, you just don't see this often, and you start to wonder, because there was all these talks in the summer before Dame got there. Is Giannis going to be a New York Knick? Is he trying to force his way out of Milwaukee? Is he actually happy there? And if Doc Rivers doesn't work out, or if the defense, they don't see a huge bump in the defense, I mean, does it just go back to angry Giannis, who's not pleased in Milwaukee? Because even though they seemingly brought in the guy that Giannis wants, I still think overall this is a little concerning just in general. But
it is crazier. It is crazier than David Blatt, because David Blatt, I looking back now, he was there that first year and they went to the finals. Yeah, so David Blatt was he had success. Well, maybe that is crazier because they went to the finals, and then but their record in that second year was 30-11. Right now, the Bucks are 30-13, like right at that halfway point.
Very similar. Yeah,
I mean, they're tied for the second best record in the entire league, which is crazy. Like this happens in any other sport. There's probably outrage by the fan base, but because this is the NBA, right? Because this is the most player-driven league, I think everyone's just kind of like, all right, Giannis just wanted him out, and it's wild to me, right? You have a new head coach, right? It's not like he's been here a while. This is his first year as the Bucks head coach. You're 30-13, and you're gone. Because, a superstar just doesn't like how you're doing. And I get it. Giannis has, I think, earned that privilege, right? He got the championship from Milwaukee. He brought Dame here. I mean, Giannis has been calling the shots, I think, for a while. I think we all, like, his brother's still on the roster, guys. His brother's still on the roster. There's only one reason that his brother's still on the roster. It's because Giannis wants him there. Like,
that's a good point.
But he's been calling the shots for a while. And to my thing, which surprises me a little bit, right? The Bucks didn't really feel like they had an identity at the start of the year. I thought they started picking it back up, and they've improved, I think, as the year's gone on. So that's kind of strange to me. Like, if it would be one thing if the Bucks started like 8-0, right, and they were trending in the wrong direction. I thought they've been trending in the opposite direction, where they're starting to play better as the team, more cohesive. Like Middleton's back, starting to get significant minutes again. Dame has kind of gotten back to his old self and not been, shying away from the moment. Giannis was, first probably 15 games was just not aggressive at all. I mean, this guy was just passing the ball away, very rarely wanted to take over games. Now we're starting to see Giannis play like old Giannis. So it feels like a weird timing, because I think the team was trending in the right direction. But this could also have been in the cards for a while that, right off the bat, Giannis is like, I don't like this guy. And they were just waiting for the right time to do it. My biggest, concern or issue is a lot of Giannis's complaints have been on the defensive side, right? We're talking about he wants to improve defense. Buddy, the point guard you brought in replaced Drew Holiday, who's one of the best defensive point guards in the NBA. And you're bringing in a guy that's a pure scorer that has been a defensive liability his entire career. As much as we love Dame, he's never been that guy on defense. So you want to complain about defense that way. Also, too, the coach you're bringing in, Doc Rivers, his teams have crumbled in the playoffs on the defensive side. Like, it's just wild to me, right? Like, he's making all these points, and it could just be he's just trying to find something where I guess maybe the numbers back up that he just maybe didn't like Griffin. Maybe he didn't like Adrian Griffin. It's like he wanted to go a different direction the whole time. But it's like you're complaining about defense, and it's like, buddy, that's on you. You are 100% at fault for that, where the moves that like you have wanted to make for this team this year, you knew your defense was going to be lacking. And so to me, it just feels so weird, right? Because they're 30-13. I think they have been improving, maybe, not short term, but on a month-to-month basis. As the year's gone on, I think they've gotten better as a team. They're finally starting to get fully healthy. But like I said, any other league, there's going to be outrage to this, but this is the NBA. This is a players-driven league, and it's like people see this move, right? And if this move had happened in the NFL, let's say a team was like 8-2, and they're the second best team in the conference, and it happened, people would be freaking out. They'd be losing their minds. Because this happened in the NBA, my initial reaction, and I'm sure your guys' initial reaction was like, oh, Giannis probably wanted him out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Giannis probably wanted him out.
It was like the second thing I texted to my friend was like, Giannis had done this. and Dame too. I want to give it more to Dame. Sorry, Dame, but Dame has to be in Giannis's ear about this. And the Terry Stotts thing is why I bring that up, because Terry Stotts was brought in for Dame specifically. Like, those two have such a close relationship. Yeah. Terry Stotts was there in Portland, I think, for 9 years with Dame. And he was brought in basically as like the Dame whisperer for this team. And then before the season even starts, Adrian Griffin reportedly gets into a shouting match with Terry Stotts in the locker room after a preseason game. They have differences in thoughts on scheme and everything else, and they get rid of the guy. And Damian Lillard is looking at this situation like, I just agreed to leave the place that I said I was never going to leave, put all my stock into this organization, in this team and everything. And we're going to go down because this first-time coach doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, that might just be Dame, and maybe through Giannis, like, those two probably are obviously communicating every day about these things and making these decisions. He's looking at it like, my clock's ticking. I'm not wasting it with this guy who doesn't know what he's doing. Like, bring Doc in, a guy who at the very least, like, is going to bring structure. Like, whatever Doc is going to do in the playoffs, that's one thing. But Doc is going to come in, and they're going to be They're not going to be a miscommunications. They're not going to be disorganized. They're going to have a structure. He's going to be able to run a good program, and they're going to have a defensive backbone for the rest of the regular season. Now, how teams attack them in the playoffs,
right?
We'll see. But Doc, who is the king of failing upwards, like the guy since Boston couldn't get over the hump with the Clippers. Then he gets a job with Joel Embiid, who is arguably the best player in the world right now. Can't get over the hump with him and James Harden. Now, maybe that's James Harden's fault as much as anything, too. We can't let Doc go for how he kind of handled that, the Ben Simmons situation, everything else. And now he ends up with Giannis and Dame. And it's hard for me to believe that they're going to have more playoff success the way we've seen with him. But this might be his best. This might be his best and last chance. So maybe Doc is more motivated than he has been with that Philly situation. Maybe it's more, this feels more stable, even though it's kind of crazy right now. He's not dealing with the craziness of Philly. Like, if he can get these guys kind of in line, and he knows how to communicate with stars. Like, that's what we know about Doc.
And maybe this is a move where Giannis and Dame buying into Doc, right? To have your star players buy into you. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that's the big thing, is they're buying into it, and that might help them. Because if your star players aren't buying into your coach, I don't care how successful you are, you don't want that, right?
Yep. Giannis, and you've been making the point, especially in the NBA, especially in this league.
Right.
Giannis probably overheard Dame mumble under his breath, like, "Wish I fucking went to Miami, man." And he was like, "All right, we got to get Griffin out of here before Dame leaves." And I think it's very possible Doc just hated fucking broadcasting, bro. I think he wanted to coach the whole time.
I'm so pissed. The worst part about this is now we don't have Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy with Mike Green. Like, they brought Doc in as this.
Yeah, it's like, you see what you did? You broke something, or you fixed something that wasn't broken. And now it's funny. Dan Greenberg, who covers the Boston Celtics, he tweeted a picture of Mazzulla and Van Gundy like chopping it up on the practice court, and he was like, "Sorry, NBA, like, no takes these backs." He's like, Jeff Van Gundy is part of the Celtics now. Like, he can't get back on the broadcast as much as you may want him to. Just one of the crazier situations I've seen in a while in the NBA. Very just intrigued to see how this plays out for Giannis, for Dame, for Doc. I think we won't really know for sure until we get to the playoffs, and we'll never really know for sure, right? Because Adrian Griffin was a rookie head coach. Like, does he get a shot somewhere else? Does he go back to being an assistant somewhere else? He had a bunch of success for half a season, and this is, like Steve said, it's a player-driven league, and sometimes if you're not the guy,
I think he has the fourth best winning percentage like in NBA history or something right now as coach.
And he loses his job halfway through the season. Nice doing business with you. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Keep an eye on the Bucks, everyone. The last piece of news is that Tristan Thompson maybe he failed probably the most meaningless drug test of all time. Jake, I think you know better than anyone. I mean, Tristan Thompson, I guess he still gets some decent run for the Cavs this year, but he is suspended 25 games. I think he popped positive for ibuprofen and SARMs, which is a cheap steroid, the way I understand it. So
it's basically the way it's not even like, first of all, it's not legal at all in the US. It's not just an NBA illegal steroid. It's illegal in the United States of America. And yeah, it's mostly for like, the biggest use of it is like college kids trying to bulk. Like, it's not even like, like he's not even like a good like steroid. It was like the dumbest, most basic steroid that he could have been doing. And he's doing it to basically get a vet minimum contract and just keep up on the court, getting his 10 minutes a game. It's crazy that this is like how this ended up with Tristan Thompson. I have nothing, like, was literally not shocked at all seeing this. Like, when it comes to Tristan
Thompson,
Thompson,
it's like the most meaningless failed drug test I've ever seen. It's like,
and with him, any Tristan Thompson story that comes out, you're like, yeah, like, Tristan's not a reliable human being at this point. Like, he goes off the wall.
Cheated on his girlfriend again. Failed the drug test. And
it sucks for the Cavs.
Par for the course.
But yeah, it is what it is. Like, it's he'll be back for the playoff run. I'm sure they're not going to cut him or anything like that. I don't know what he's going to look like, but
it's kind of hilarious, like a glue guy or like an 8th or 9th guy off the bench getting popped for steroids in the NBA. It's like, did Did you really need to do that? I don't think it was going to change much.
Especially a guy his age too.
Yeah,
you've been in this league for a while, man.
He is averaging 3.8 points a game, 3.9 rebounds a game, and 1 assist a game. In average for 12 minutes.
We didn't get to see him after the juice, though. It might have been 5 and 5.
That's true. You're right.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not going to lose any sleep missing Tristan Thompson for the next 25 games.
Me either.
We're not going to notice. The 25 games will come and go, and we'll be like, it'll be like 40 games in, and we'll be like, oh yeah, Thompson's back.
NBA could have suspended him without saying anything, and I'd just been like, guys, just a healthy scratch. He's just a healthy scratch tonight.
Exactly.
He's just been a healthy scratch for 25 straight games.
That's pretty much what it is. He's gonna go hang out at home. He'll just be chilling.
So that'll do it for the news. Ended I guess
Cavs Bucks tonight too. The two teams we just talked about. The Bucks in the midst of a coaching change. The Cavs been rolling.
Cavs killed the Bucks last time too, right? The Giannis Bucks, they killed them. Yeah,
it was the Sam Merrill game, bro. He was cooking.
Every game feels like the Sam Merrill game with the Cavs right now, man. That guy's just shooting. Shooters shoot.
The Cavs are in an interesting spot because Garland and Mobley are still out, and who knows what this team looks like.
They've been out for so long, man.
I don't. When is Mobley even supposed to come back? It was like 6 to 8 weeks. Like how long ago?
I think he's closer than. I believe he's closer.
Okay.
Than Garland is, but I don't know what this team looks like after that. But they've been beating up some scrub teams, and so we'll see what they look like against a full strength Bucks team tonight.
Yeah, that'll be a good game. I didn't take that on win streaks, but I thought about taking the Cavs for the points there. And just because exterior motives, I would like the Milwaukee Bucks to lose.
And they play Milwaukee again Friday too, actually. So tonight's the night they catch them, and then Milwaukee comes back with Doc.
Is that a home and home then? I'm guessing
just 2 in Milwaukee, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, little baseball series.
Okay.
I like that. And something the rest of the NBA world fans, coaches, players loved was Monday night because it was something fucking spectacular, fellas. I'm not gonna lie. Like just sitting there watching Celtics Mavs, which was already a fantastic game, and was just overshadowed because Embiid went for 70, most points in franchise history for the 76ers, and a career high for Embiid, obviously. And then Cat at the same time, after Embiid finished with 70, Cat had 40-something at the half, ends with 63. Obviously, much different games. The Sixers won. Embiid was spreading the ball around. The Minnesota Timberwolves lost to the Hornets, and Cat was not really spreading the ball around. Let's start with Embiid, though. I mean, just like even watching, because admittedly I wasn't watching this game live, but I was flicking back and forth. I watched the highlights afterwards, and we've gone over so much how incredible Embiid has been this season, but to have a 70-point night on a Monday night and for your team to get the victory, and him asking, Wilt has never done this afterwards. I think it was something to do with rebounds and assists.
70, 15, and 5. First 70, 15, and 5 game.
Yeah. I think him and Jordan were the only two to do that, correct?
And I want to say Elgin Baylor. Elgin Baylor too as well.
But and him holding up the piece of paper with 70 odd, it was great, man. It's just like if you like the game of basketball, you loved what you saw Monday night, and like it's the new age, right? Like it's centers that can step out and hit the three. Yeah. Both of these guys, Embiid gets it done at the free throw line. He can score at every level. Cat with unlimited range. It was awesome. Just great.
Embiid's was crazy, right? Because he did it against Wembanyama too, right? We're talking about a rookie getting humbled. Wemby still scored, I think, 33 points of his own or something in this game. Like Wemby didn't have a bad game. But, coming into it, it was like, all right, let's see how, Wemby does. He's been, all world defensively so far this year. That's how he does against one of the most dominant centers in the league. And Embiid just bully ball. It was just bully ball. 24 points, I think, in the first quarter, 36 in the first half. And it was, like you said, Donnie, Embiid's bag of tricks now has just expanded so greatly in the past couple of years. It's unbelievable what he can do. His versatility with his size is something like we really haven't seen before, where he can just back him down, but he will turn around and make that turnaround jumper. You're right. He'll shoot the three. I think he only made 1 3 in his 70 points, which makes it even more impressive.
Yeah, insane.
But it was just crazy. And it's just, it's gotten to the point. It's like, I don't know what a team can do to stop Joel Embiid. The Spurs, and I think Popovich was talking about a little bit before, they're going to have Wemby on him and see how Wemby could do against him. It's like, nope, even Wemby, this guy who's a freak of nature, who has a wingspan that can cover pretty much half the court, could not stop this guy one-on-one. And it's been so impressive to see so far this year. I mean, I honestly, like, just for, the sake of Embiid's case, I hope he does play enough games this year, because he's far and away the MVP right now, just running away with it. I mean, he's putting up video game numbers every night. I don't even know how many games it is he's scored 30 points in, but it's getting ridiculous. It's like he's a lock for 30 and 10 every single night, and it's not even that. He's a lock for pretty much 25 points in the first half every single night on the court. And this 76ers team is looking like a legitimate threat. I mean, they just seem to be getting better and better. The players are playing well around him. And, he only had 5 assists in that game, but still to have 5 assists as a big man in a game where you drop 70 in my mind is crazy impressive, because his playmaking has just impressed. I think the best play of the game, I forget who the pass was to, but it was almost like a blind bounce pass. I forgot who was cutting on the baseline, but Embiid, he had probably 40-something points at this point. Just a blind bounce pass where he whipped that thing just perfect on a dime, easy dunk. And it's like, that's the big man doing it. That's the big man making a play like that in a game where he dropped 70.
I don't remember if Wemby was on him at the time for that pass, but like, you talk about 5 assists for a center in a game where you drop 70, and the guy who is guarding you has an 8-foot-something wingspan.
Yeah,
probably over that. He's probably close to 10-foot wingspan. For Wemby.
I don't even want it. I don't even.
Yeah, I'd rather not, because it just makes me upset. But no, but it's truly incredible, and I don't know. Yeah, I think watching the highlights, there's probably 5 or 6 that I could say are my favorite play from that night. I think the layup to get him 70 was also,
the fast sprint.
Yeah, it was just like to see him, like, you could see Embiid isn't really like the fastest guy, but like he was moving a little.
He was getting down the court for that one right there.
He was moving up.
It was awesome, man. I'm honestly happy. I'm never really happy for the Sixers in any capacity, but super happy for Embiid. And I know Jokic, it probably seems like this a few years ago, but that's the only time that I can remember where, like, halfway through the season, I can confidently say right now, if Embiid doesn't miss many more games, I think he's a lock for the MVP.
Yeah, I'd agree with you too.
And that doesn't happen often. Maybe with Jokic a few years ago we were saying that, but it's insane.
He's just been so dominant. He's been so consistent, right? It's every single night Embiid is a lock to put up these kind of numbers. He's a lock to just do. He hasn't had like a bad game. He hasn't had a slump. It's in unreal, his consistency. And I think what's crazy about it too, and I'll give a couple examples of that, is everyone's on notice of how good Embiid is. Part of my favorite part about the 70-point game was when they interviewed KD after, when they were asking KD your opinion. You see Embiid had 70, and KD goes, he had 70?
Yeah.
Like he's shocked. Like he had, like, other, incredible players are super impressed. And then I think the best one of them all was Late Night Sports Center, I believe, with Scott Van Pelt. He was interviewing Bill Self after Kansas had a nice win. And he was like, I just want to let you know about, one of your former players, Joel Embiid. He had a 70 tonight. And jokingly, like, Bill Self was like, he learned that. I take all credit for that. He learned that in his 8 months here. But it's crazy too. We kind of forget, like, Embiid was at Kansas for like 8-month span. Like he was in college basketball, and to just see his growth from then to now, it's unbelievable. I mean, he's gotten significantly better, I feel like, every single year of his career. And that's kind of crazy with a player who already had, the type of skill set he had, is just to keep improving.
Yeah.
I mean, he won the MVP last year, guys, right? He won the MVP last year. he is significantly better this year than he was last year.
Growth is the key word with that too, because the footwork and shit was always there. But if you look at Embiid back in college to what he is now, and you guys like mentioned, like he's not he's not running down the floor. Like the dude is just a force, and he's huge. Like he put in the work to get like fill out his frame, like to be like as dominating and as physical of a force as he is, and he still was able to maintain that footwork and that like guard like skills that he has, like that's made him so special to begin with. And that's really the amazing thing about him. And like Bloomy said here, like he keeps getting better. That's the scary part. Is there like I would have thought
basketball until he was 15.
I know
that's crazy. It's so crazy.
Nuts. It's nuts, man. He's put in the work, and it's great. It's been great to see, because I thought by now, like with the injury history and everything else, like who knew what he was going to be like, if he was going to be this effective. And he's just gotten better and healthier as the years have gone on too. Like he's addressed every time he has an issue, he addresses it and gets better at it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like a few years ago, I don't think he would have been capable for this, because the knock then was that he was out of shape. And like at the end of the games, it was clear that he was gassed and couldn't keep up or was fouling out. And, he's gotten to this point now. And two cool stats I wanted to just throw out there about Monday night. I think everyone probably knows this one. It was just so awesome that it happened on the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's 81 points. And, to have these two guys come out and have 70 and 63, which
Cat. Do you think they knew? You think they knew?
The report was that players told Cat at halftime that Embiid had 70, and he was at what, like, I can't remember what
44.
44.
Because I remember we're talking in the group chat going I'm tuned into the Sixers game because like I gotta watch what Embiid's doing. Meanwhile, watching the Celtics Mavs, and then I like to look what else is going on in the league, go through the box score, click on the T-Wolves game. I'm like, that's a mistake. Cat had 4. I text you guys. I go, guys, Cat has 44. like we're talking about Embiid right now. He might get to 70 because I don't think he had reached it at that point. I'm like, guys, Cat has 44 at half. I think he made 8 or his first 9 3-pointers attempted.
Yeah, he had 10 total.
8 or 9 and a half.
And I think he made his first 8 he attempted. 8 or 9. We're talking about a 7-foot center.
Yeah.
This is a crazy world. This is crazy.
Monday really was banana land. And the second stat is that it's perfect because we were just talking about both of them, going crazy with the scoring. But it's the first day since April 9th of 1978 that 2 players had 60 points in the same night across the league. So, this is it hasn't happened for a long time. Monday night was special. The last thing I'll say about Cat is that Chris Finch, head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, did not mince words at the post-game presser. He was not happy for Cat getting his career high. He said it was childish, it was immature basketball, it was not disciplined, basically everything you say. And Anthony Edwards kind of took responsibility. He said, admittedly, they were all trying to get Cat to just keep scoring, and they blew a game to the Hornets, which might not seem
a big lead too.
Yeah,
a big lead too.
A big lead to a bad team who we mentioned at the top is almost definitely trying to tank at this point. And it, on paper doesn't really seem like a big deal. Like middle of January, you lose a game to the Hornets. Who cares? You should, because the Oklahoma City Thunder are now the 1 seed in the Western Conference.
Yep.
So it seems meaningless, but it's
every game matters.
And it's stuff that we kind of pointed to the Timberwolves. That was a fault last year, like just immaturity, kind of not really caring about the moment. Then it was the complete opposite when the season started. It's like, T-Wolves are for real. They're playing defense. Everyone's bought in. And what? I don't think it's a huge deal. It's cool. He had 63. Obviously, they have team chemistry that the guys were trying to get him as most points as they could, but definitely different levels than the Embiid 70-point game.
Did you guys watch the end of the game? Do you watch the end of that game? It was I don't blame for Chris Finch for how mad he was, because first off, Anthony Edwards had 1 shot attempt at halftime. I get Cat has 44. Anthony Edwards needs more than 1 shot attempt per half. And he started scoring a little bit more in the second half. But we're talking about the end of the game here. First off, they are doing nothing on defense. They're letting the Hornets pretty much score at will. It was almost like where, like, you're playing against someone in a game where like you're comfortably gonna win, where you're like, I know I'm gonna win. I'm just trying to run up the score or stat pad with this one player, and you're letting the other team score. The only difference was the Hornets were coming back, and they were coming back fast. And if you watch the end of that game, Cat was getting double and triple teamed. So one time he was quadruple teamed, and the T-Wolves were just giving him the ball and all that was happening was Cat was trying to take these shots at double, triple team, sometimes quadruple team, complaining to the ref he wouldn't get fouled as the Hornets are going down the other side of the court and scoring. I mean, it made no sense. At one point, Cat was on the bench because of the lack of defense and because how mad Chris Finch was, which is so crazy that a guy who scored 60 points or 63 points in a game is sitting on the bench because of how they're playing that game out. But it was true. I mean, I'm watching the game. It was a comedy. It was a circus. Cat is triple teamed, trying to chuck up the ball to draw these fouls, then just complaining to the ref when he doesn't get him. It's like, yeah, you're not going to get him when you're getting mauled by 3-4 guys. At that point, you got to be like, all right, he's having a great game, but clearly their defense is adjusting to it a little bit here in the fourth quarter. Clearly our defense is letting them score at anything. Let's run through the offense. And oh, by the way, Minnesota, a guy named Anthony Edwards, he's pretty good. You might want to give him the ball if he's got no one around him. You might want to try that. And Anthony Edwards, every time he got the ball, it was like he's playing hot potato. He couldn't get it out of his hands quicker. It's like, dude, I get it that you want to keep getting this guy's back, but go win the game. You are the guy in late game scenarios who wins the game for the Timberwolves here. It's just, and I know it's against the Hornets. I know it's like middle of the season, so it's not like the biggest deal in the world, but you're right, Dunn. Every game matters, and they did lose the 1 seed to OKC, and that could be a big matchup difference of who you're playing in the first round. And we're not talking about the Timberwolves, a team that's
it could be a team that doesn't give up that 1 seed. They might not lose enough to give up that spot for the rest of the season because OKC has looked damn good, and maybe next week or in the coming weeks we're gonna have to dedicate like half an episode to OKC because I feel like we haven't even talked about them enough. I also do want to point out that I put 63 in the doc, and it was in fact 62 points. Okay. So I'm glad I noticed after we talked for about 15 minutes about it. But
that's right.
just for if anyone was going to be on our ass, it was 62 for Cat, 70 for MB. We got that right. But yeah, incredible night for the bigs. I'm sure the T-Wolves will bounce back, but I didn't know that Anthony Edwards thing that he was shooting that little in the first half.
One shot attempt in the first half. One.
That's insane.
And I get it. They were up, I think 17 or something at halftime. And I think they were up 18 or something going in the fourth. So I get it when it's like that. But once the game starts getting closer, that's when the maturity has to come into play if you're Anthony Edwards, right? And that's where you're like, all right, we got to get the best shot for this team. We just can't keep feeding Cat.
And then they lose on Leaky Black's first free throws ever made in the NBA.
Unreal. What a choke job. Crazy. But yeah, the Chris Finch post game presser was just iconic. He was so mad.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I think it's a good head coach moment. Like I don't think you would want your coach to just be like super excited about that or even smiling at all if you blow a game like that. So definitely makes sense. Jake, I think before Jake just had to run, he'll be back next week. But before he left, I think he brought up Kevin Durant, and that's who we're going to talk about last or one of you guys did when Kevin Durant
got 70.
That's a great clip. KD has been in the news. His name's been thrown around a lot this week for other reasons. He said that, or I guess he asked the question. He didn't say he needs to or wants to be in the conversation, but he simply asked, why is Kevin Durant not in the GOAT conversation? He thinks that he can do, what all the other greats can do or have done. He's got 2 rings. He's got the MVP. I mean, I don't buy into this. I love KD. KD's one of my favorite players ever.
Where would you put him top 10 all time right now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't, I didn't, count any number like actual guys' names in order, but I think I could comfortably say he's in my top 10.
Yeah, I would say the same. And I think the main reason, Dunny, why I feel like some people don't put KD in that conversation or up there with the other names right away is the Warriors move. It's the Warriors move, and people are just going to hold that against him his entire career. I mean, it's funny too because I keep bringing this up, but you go to the comments of any social post of KD reacting to Embiid's 70 points game, and all the top comments are, "Oh, looks like KD's going to Philly now. Looks like KD wants." It's like you can't. The guy can't buy a break. It's like, all right, I get it. Like he went to the Warriors, he went to the super team, but at the end of the day, KD's been one of the best players we've ever watched, and we are going to look back at this probably 20 years later. Who knows how long later? People are going to look back and be like, wow, Kevin Durant, LeBron James pretty much played their careers in the same time period. Mm-hmm. And I think KD, from what he's done on the basketball court, I know injuries sometimes have kind of hurt him a little bit there. And obviously, like I said, the move to go to the Warriors and then try to form the big three on the Nets, and now he's on the Suns, kind of rub people the wrong way. Mm-hmm. I think if KD stayed in OKC his entire time and he got a championship with him, I think that we'd have a completely different feeling about this, or a lot of people would. But if I'm taking all that aside and I'm just looking at him as the basketball player, I mean, you got to say it for what it is. He's one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen, without question. He's one of the greatest shot creators we have ever seen. This is a guy who's beaten LeBron in the big moments. Like he outplayed LeBron. We want to say, oh, he was on the stacked Warriors. KD outplayed LeBron in those finals. Mm-hmm. He's I think one of the greatest ever. And I think it's one of those where he's probably not in the GOAT conversation right now, but I think when he retires and when it's all said and done, you're going to see the career numbers. You're going to go back and see everything he did. And I think you can make a very good argument for him. And I think he's going to be one of those guys kind of similar to Kobe Bryant, where after his career is where people are really starting to put the name up there, where they're really starting to look back on everything he did for the game of basketball, not, just the stats and the MVPs and the championships, but what he did for the game of basketball. And I think that's really where KD will be in there. Right now, I still think there's, at least probably 5-6 names I'd have ahead of him, no doubt. And then there's a few others I think you could make arguments for. But I don't think it's crazy at all.
No.
I think if you're going to put Curry up there, you have to put KD up there.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason too, it's a little different because I don't think anyone's trying to put Allen Iverson in the GOAT conversation, but I think it's part of the reason that Curry is even in the conversation is just what they did for the game. Agreed. Yes, on the court, but just in general. I mean, KD's similar to LeBron, where as soon as he got to the league, he was dominant and put on a show and was much watched basketball. And he's just he was kind of this new age of who is this tall, skinny freak of nature that can do everything that the most advanced guards in our league can do. That was Kevin Durant.
What do you mean the 7-footer's taking it up the court? What do you mean he's pulling up on his own dribble?
The reason that we don't bat an eye at Wemby or any of these other new guys who can do the things that KD can do is because KD's been doing them for over a decade, and he perfected them at a young age. He's also one of the more underrated defensive players, I think, that's ever played the game. Because obviously, he's not as durable and doesn't really get as nasty in the paint anymore. But I mean, his OKC days, he was sending people away on a regular basis, protecting the rim. I'm never.
He had the wingspan. He had that wingspan. He had the freakish wingspan that we've never seen before. He was one of the first players like that.
I'm never gonna have a bad thing to say about Kevin Durant as far as play and what he's done for the game. Do I think he's in that GOAT conversation? No, I think that's still for LeBron and Michael Jordan are the only two in that sphere. Do I think he's one of the greatest to ever play the game? Yeah, I do. And
absolutely,
Jake, me and Steve said, I also lied to the listeners. I said that you were gone for the episode, but he has made a triumph. He's made a triumphant return to talk about KD. But what I said to Steve was, he asked me, is KD in my top 10 all time? And I said, probably. Yeah. I mean, I didn't list the guys out, like I said, but I think I can confidently say that. So one of the greats. Yeah. And if he wins one or two more, maybe we start to throw him in that conversation with Bron and
people
and,
are
MJ, but
I guess it depends on what you view as the GOAT conversation, right? If you're looking at it as who's the just single greatest player, right? I think it is a 2-horse race right now between LeBron and MJ. But if I'm looking at it as like GOAT is like, if I'm looking at basketball, like a starting 5 lineup or something, who am I looking in there? I think you can make an argument with
like the
position with guys around him.
Player. Yes. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. I can't argue with any of that. And Bloomy made a great point. People are bitter about the Warriors move, bro.
Yep.
So bitter.
Why
would you, like, the situation that KD was in with the cap spike and everything else? Why the hell would you go anywhere else? That was like, you could be mad. Everybody's just mad because they were good and that somebody joins in and everybody wants to get after a guy. There's no reason that you shouldn't. Like, he when he said it, when he did it was like basketball nirvana. It really was. And then they were successful for that amount of time. Like, KD was right, bro. Like, he made the right decision for himself, for his legacy, because you know what people would talk way more shit about is if he didn't have any rings. That's what they would say. They would say.
Yeah.
That would be the argument. Like, if KD just stayed in Oklahoma City and didn't ever win, they would shit on him for that too. So, like, KD there is no winning. Now, the Brooklyn decision, you can criticize KD for kind of how he was running. He was basically running that organization and how that ended up working out. But he could never have anticipated Kyrie going off the deep end like he did. He could never. I mean, I guess we all could have anticipated Harden being James Harden, but like, they took swings. It didn't work. They were still like, I still respect him for trying to go and create that legacy and create a culture for a team that has none, bro. People don't give a shit about the Brooklyn Nets. No, sorry, my dad was a New Jersey Nets fan, though. Like, he's just been loyal. That's who there are fans. There are either New Jersey fans or there's nobody left in that city. And KD went in, thought they'd have a moment to be able to try to do that, and underestimated the work that it was going to take. And then his running mate went off the deep end for a couple of years. So, like, it was really just bad timing in that thing. And now KD is back and he has a chance. Bloomy says, hey, I do love my Nets. I know they're out there. I said they're out there, but it's just like, it's New York City. Like, that's like the Knicks. The Knicks are not a contender right now, and they're the darling of that city again. Like, no matter what, it's a different level to this. And if KD wins again with the Suns, which I think, you know, the way that they've started this year, obviously they're not looking great in the standings at the moment, but hey, that Suns team in the playoffs, if they're fully healthy, it's going to be hard to pick against them. If he wins a ring with this team and he's been the best player on this team this year. Everyone's saying,
scored 40 plus the last couple nights. He's
had a game winner against
30
the Bulls.
a game. Yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic.
He's been awesome, and I think he's going to age really well, like continue to age well into his career. So he still has years and numbers to put up. So yeah, KD is definitely in this conversation. He's definitely top 10. I think that top 5 is where you start making arguments for KD, because I think you could put him around there, and I don't think that people should really get after you for that.
I'm right there with you. I think arguably too, probably the greatest mid-range shooter of all time.
Oh yeah.
Right? Is there anyone else?
The prettiest for sure.
Oh, I mean, his shot. I mean, you could just picture his shot.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Follow like dude, and sorry JBC, because I'm pretty sure you're in here, but that buzzer beater against the Bulls the other night was incredible.
Bro, the fact that he like adjusted midair to get it away from Caruso.
I don't even know how he knew that was coming.
I have no idea. It's nuts.
It's like in a video game when like they slow everything down and you have to hit an additional button for it to work. Like in the air,
you do the double tap, right? And they do the hesitate. Yes.
Yeah, he like double clicked A in the air and then just cashed. But yeah, I think before we get off this topic, I think it'd be fair to just remind people. I have his accolades and highlights, or career highlights and awards pulled up. It's 2-time NBA champ, 2-time Finals MVP, most valuable player in 2014, 13-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star MVP, 6-time All-NBA first team, 4-time All-NBA second team, NBA Rookie of the Year, All-Rookie first team, 4-time scoring champion, 2-time 50-40-90 club, was in the NBA top 75, National College Player of the Year in 2007, Big 12 Player of the Year. The Longhorns retired his number 35, FIBA World Champion, and 3-time USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year. And then if you want to go all the way back, also McDonald's All-American Game MVP. He's just done it all at all levels.
He's
man.
got a few accolades. He's got a little bit of hardware.
So him wanting to interject himself into the GOAT conversation, I'm fine with it. Am I gonna put him up there with Bron and MJ? Not at the moment, but
no,
he deserves it, man.
He at least can put his name out there as one of the greatest players to ever play basketball. It's just true.
Yeah, man. So shout out KD and shout out Win Streaks, because that is who this episode has been brought to you by. Guys, just do it. It's simple. It's free. 100% free to play. Download the Win Streaks app. Use our code HHH when you sign up. Pick your favorite teams to win the games that you're already watching and accumulate those points and win cash prizes. It's easy. We gave you guys some picks that we like tonight, and we have some more exciting stuff coming with Win Streaks down the road, and we are excited for you guys to get on board. Is that going to do it for us, guys, or you guys got anything else?
Hey, Donnie, I mean, we could always do a draft. We could always do a draft if you. Yeah. We got the internet working.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
also,
yes, cooking.
I know.
You are the Boston Celtics of internet this week.
Yeah, upgraded from the Blazers.
Apologies for last week. I've been having a fucking time with this Wi-Fi situation. Finally got it figured out. Hopefully you guys can hear me clearly. And yeah, that's a good idea, Steve. Let's end the episode with a little all-time point guard draft. So this draft is going to be centered around us drafting 5 point guards each. And we're trying to make the best starting 5 we can out of just point guards. I don't know how you guys want to decide.
Yeah, our 3 teams are playing pickup against each other, 5-man starting lineup. We want to beat the other 2. That's what we're doing. And it's going to be point guards in their prime, right?
Yes.
Like if someone took Chris Paul, for example, you're not getting Chris Paul right now. You're getting Chris Paul when he was all NBA. So I don't know. How do you want to?
I got it here. If you guys trust me, I'll do a random number generator.
Let's do a random number generator.
Steve, pick a number between. No, I'm just gonna pick for you, Steve. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, you got 3.
Okay.
Me and Dunny will do 1 to 2.
I'll take 3.
Basically a coin flip. Dunny, ready? You got 1. All right. So Dunny's first. I'll go second, Steve third, and then snake draft. Let's see if we can figure this out this time.
Is someone writing these picks down? Because I'll
write them in the dog.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna put them on the screen too. So
all right, first pick in the all-time point guard draft. Oh my God!
Whoa, he's nervous.
That's not a good start.
He's nervous.
This is easy. First pick in the NBA all-time point guard draft. Steph Curry for me, please.
Okay.
That's solid.
Okay.
I was between 2 actually, but
I wonder which 2.
I don't know. I thought Steph was. I thought you guys maybe thought Steph was the easy one, but maybe not. I guess if we are building a starting 5.
Building a starting 5, I mean, the only thing I will say, building the starting 5, there's a lot of point guards that can shoot, but I mean, Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time.
All right, Jake, who you got?
It's a solid start. I'm picking Magic Johnson. You gotta pick Magic.
I mean, that's the easy one, too. Easy.
And I get the size. If we're talking about a pickup game, now I have a 6'8" card.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why I almost went Magic.
That's what I'm saying. All right.
I couldn't allow one of you guys to get Steph at 2 or 3.
All right, so we're doing point guards in their prime, right? We're doing point guards in their prime.
Yeah.
Number 3. Picks. Yeah, I got 2 picks. I'm taking Big O, Oscar Robertson.
I like that. I was wondering when he was going to go.
We got a little bit of size. We got a guy who can do pretty much everything. He's a dog on the boards too. And then man, this is tough. This stuff. You know what? I'm gonna do it. He's not getting back to me. Luka Doncic. He's young, but I'll tell you what, he'll be up here. He'll be up in the top 5 when it's all said.
I like that, man.
So give me Big O and Luka. And talk about size. I got size with both my picks.
That's nice. Yeah, that's for sure. I like it. That's a bold move, but I'm not surprised by you making that move.
And I love Oscar too, right? I think it kind of works.
I was taking Oscar if he got to me for sure.
All right, so I'm up.
Yep.
I gotta pick the point guard, Chris Paul. Gotta do it.
I like it. I like it.
Gotta do it.
Okay, do I get
you got two now?
You get two.
Okay. I love that. I'm going to go Steve Nash.
Okay.
And Russell Westbrook.
Thank you. I prime Westbrook needs to be up.
I need someone to rebound on this squad.
Yeah.
Russ was on my short list here for this next pick, so now I'm a little thrown off. I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple guys I'm trying to decide between here. There's one guy. I'm really between two or three guys here. One's a risky move, but I think I'm gonna do it.
Either of my guys. All right,
I think I'm gonna do it. We're going into prime. I'm going Derrick Rose.
Oh.
I almost went Rose and Westbrook for those two picks. Rose. So nice.
All right.
That's a great pick, I think.
I'm gonna shout out Bloomy for this one. I'm going with the greatest defensive point guard of all time, and it's not close. Give me the glove, Gary Payton.
He was getting drafted. He was definitely getting drafted.
And I need a little bit of scoring. Want to talk about scoring in its prime? Damian Lillard. Give me Damian. Give me Damian Lillard.
I did not think he would go in this draft.
The way I built my team, right? I want someone who can just chuck up shots. You're telling me I get that 3-point shooter with Luka and Oscar kicking the ball out?
Before Dame, you didn't have any sharpshooters. So I like that.
Yeah, that's a great point. Now I really don't have shooters here now, so I need to kind of.
That's what I'm saying.
I kind of got to look here. And there's some guys though. There's some shooters out there. There's some shooters still out here. I might have to take this risk. I think I'm going to do it. I'm taking Kyrie Irving. I'm taking Kyrie.
I was highly considering Kyrie too.
I got to do it. I need a shot maker out there. I can't just. I had another guy in mind here, but he's not a shot maker, and I can't just be out there throwing bricks up. So we gotta put Kyrie out there. Prime Kyrie, Cavs Kyrie. He'll be lighting it up. I'm with it. I got a short team here. Magic's doing a lot of work.
You do.
Yeah, but you have the tallest point guard out here.
Yeah, you also have Magic, who can play 1 through 5.
I have a very short team.
They were very. You got some love for Gary Payton there. Steve, my guy.
Oh yeah, I knew Bloomy would love that one. Hey, if we're doing a point guard draft, you need a guy on defense, and nobody's close to Gary Payton.
That's facts. All right, Dunny, you got
2 picks, right?
2 picks here, yeah.
Wait, I have 2 right now. Did we screw this up again?
These are your last 2. Then it's me. Then Steve, and then we're good.
Yep. Okay, I'm going to go Jason Kidd.
Okay.
I need a little bit of size and just kind of strength on my team. I feel like J Kidd and Russ can bring that.
Okay.
Actually, I might just double down on what I was saying I just needed. Are we counting? Actually, I don't want to ask that because that would just ruin it. Okay, my last pick. I'm gonna go John Wall. Prime John Wall.
Wow, I love that. Prime John Wall before the injuries. That was special.
Okay.
Yeah, the athleticism I have between Russ.
So what do we got? What do we have for Dunny's final team?
Steph Curry, Steve Nash, Russell Westbrook, Jason Kidd, and John Wall.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I like it. I'm getting that grit. I'm happy. I'm happy he made it here beside these 2 guys. So now I've got my guy, Isaiah Thomas. That's my last pick.
Yeah, I was.
No, this is a very now. I've got 4 shorties here.
I was thinking about Isaiah Thomas too.
Someone needed to draft him.
Yeah,
I was gonna take him if you didn't.
Isaiah and Chris Paul might fight each other during this game, but I'm willing to take that risk. Willing to take that chance.
man. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. And I think, Donnie, your question you're going to ask, because I'm considering him primary shooting guard, is AI shooting guard. AI shooting guard.
That isn't who I was talking about, but yeah, that was my thought process too, because he would have been on my team already.
Yeah, AI would have gone earlier if we're. All right, let's go. Let me see. What do I got on my team? I got Luka. I got Dame. I got Big O. I got the glove. I want winner DNA on this team. Someone who knows how to win. Give me Tony Parker to round out this 5. Tony Parker, clutch, knows how to win. I think
how about that? We talked about Tony Parker twice on tonight's episode.
Isn't that crazy?
All right, we're going to put these up. We got Steve here, Oscar Robertson, Luka Doncic, Gary Payton, Damian Lillard, Tony Parker. I got Magic Johnson, Chris Paul, Derrick Rose, Kyrie Irving, Isaiah Thomas, and Dunny's got Steph Curry, Steve Nash, Russell Westbrook, Jason Kidd, John Wall.
Prime John Wall, sneaky pick.
Yeah.
Sneaky pick, Prime John Wall.
Bro, especially with no rim protectors.
Yeah.
There's no rim
protectors. That's what I mean.
On these teams.
Don't disrespect Gary Payton like that. Don't you ever. don't you ever disrespect the glove like that.
No, the person who I was wondering, and I guess he was primarily a point, but he was such a scorer, you don't really think of him that way. I almost took Gilbert Arenas with my last pick.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Gilbert Arenas. So
some guys who I almost took Hardaway Sr. too, for some size. Darren Williams I thought about taking.
I thought about Jerry West.
I know we wouldn't have taken him, but would we have considered prime James Harden a point guard?
I guess
in his prime he was, but I think
he also did play on the team with Chris Paul for a lot of that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So in my head, I was I'm never going to consider him that, but I was if we consider him a point guard, his prime is.
Bloomy's team here: Gary Payton, AI, Curry, Kidd.
Well, I would have taken AI Bloomy, but we were calling him a shooting guard. So whoever's going to roast us in the comments, or how do you not take Allen Iverson?
I know we know it's coming.
It was a shooting guard. Allen Iverson wasn't a point guard in this.
I think we did pretty good though. I feel pretty good about our.
I like my team.
The only thing that people can fairly get pissed at us for not taking is maybe. Penny Hardaway and John Stockton. Yeah,
I was never picking John Stockton, bro.
I wasn't picking
for the
way 5-on-5.
He's not and I drafted Nash, who I feel is just a quicker, slightly better scoring John Stockton.
Yeah,
I was thinking of Penny too, Donnie. But my whole thing is I have Oscar Robertson. That's just kind of a better.
That was
Penny,
your
right? That's just kind of a better Penny, because I was considering that too, but. And Jay, you have Magic Johnson, who's the best version of a Penny Hardaway style. So it's I could see backlash on those, but I don't think it would have been as good of a fit.
Yeah. Well, we'll let the people decide.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see who the masses likes better in this draft.
I think Jake's team's gonna get a lot of love if I have to take a guess.
He has the nostalgia. He has the scoring. He has the size of Magic.
Yeah. I feel good about my team.
D-Rose.
Isaiah Thomas at the end. I was really scared.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd fall to me. That was the one I wanted to lock in.
I don't know where I would have went without Isaiah there. Because I was really between Kyrie. Yeah. Well, I figured Kyrie might sneak down with our just regular Kyrie things, but I wasn't gonna pick Kyrie.
But I told you, pure shooter, give me Dame.
That's why I had to pick Kyrie, because I needed a shooter. I needed someone to my team. That's the problem with this team, is that's a lot. Derrick Rose can't really shoot. Isaiah can't really shoot. Chris Paul can kind of shoot threes, but he's not known as a shooter. Really Magic can't shoot. It's really Kyrie, and then we're just dishing. We're just moving.
It's kind of funny. My team sucks at shooting too, except for Steph. I guess Steve Nash had a strap for a bit.
But J Kidd in his prime was not a great shooter. Became a great shooter.
Yeah, you're right.
Got the tricky one.
And
John Wall and Russ were never really sharpshooters. They could both knock it down, but
I got Dame can shoot, Parker can shoot, Luka.
Luka's a willing shooter.
He does shoot.
He does shoot. Like he's not a
He
sharp
gets hot.
shooter. I wouldn't say he's
No,
a sharp shooter
he's a
from
streaky,
outside, but
he's a
he'll
streaky
shoot.
outside shooter.
Yeah, he'll shoot.
Yeah.
But that's why I needed Dame, right? Because I'm looking at it. I'm
True.
like after Curry, who's probably the best volume 3-point shooter of all point guards? Probably Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And Steve, only because you brought Luka up, but I did want to make sure that I wore my Jaylen Brown jersey.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, Dunny. You know what? I'll tell you what, Dunny. One of the best tweets I saw, I don't know if I said it to you or not, but they were like, everyone's talking about Embiid dropping 70 when Jaylen Brown dropped 77. And it shows him just crossing over Luka. I was like, I can't see this today. I was like, just, I love Jaylen Brown. I was like, I can't see that today. But that was one of the best tweets I saw. Everyone talking about Embiid dropping 70, but Jaylen Brown dropped 77 last night.
I know. That was good.
It was a fun game, man. But I'll say this too, like Stevie Boston's gonna be in full effect this summer because that Celtics team, man, they don't miss open threes. They do not miss open shots.
They don't.
Is crazy.
Big
Al Horford. You can't leave him open. He's knocking them down.
You can't leave Al, bro. You can't leave Al anywhere.
You can't leave any of them. They didn't have KP, who's been playing out of his mind this year.
See, that's what I love about this group too. It's just like after the first quarter, I think we shot like 1 of 13 from deep, maybe as a team. And like the broadcast, like even everyone on Twitter is like, this team shoots too many threes. The rest of the game, it's like that's how we win. It's you can't leave these guys, let them get hot. That's a bad idea too.
I mean, the Jays were cooking against the Mavs. They were cooking against the Mavs, but Drew Holiday was hitting threes. He just stood behind the arc the whole game. Derek White didn't have to do much against them. I mean, it's like every other night. It's like, you know what the Jays are going to do, but one of Drew, Porzingis, or Derek White's going to score 20 plus too. How do you stop it?
And then Hauser and Pritchard just being able to come in and both just have a strap as well. Yeah, no, that was a fun game. Looking forward to the second matchup. And I think that'll do it for our episode, guys. Thanks for hanging around for the point guards draft. We've been trying to do that for a couple weeks. Thank you for reminding me, Steve. And we'll see how you guys like them. Again, download the Win Streaks app. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Later, guys.
Have a good night, folks.